What is up? Roadshow night number 4, night number 2.
You're still standing while you're sitting.
We're still here. Thank God. Actually, last night was very tame at the Wild Rose Casino in Jefferson.
You're pacing yourself.
I have a feeling tonight will be less tame. How are you, Ryan?
I'm great. Yeah.
Ryan Burchett from the Mississippi River Distilling Company, of course, makes these beautiful bottles of Cody Road.
The 2022 black bottle.
So these are going to be, because I actually already have people asking. I had a lot of people asking me last night in Jefferson about these. A lot of people have been getting these as collectors. I always do that with your stuff. I'll get two because then I like to drink one and then I like to display the other. Where do people buy these? So are they out yet?
Started shipping this week in the state of Iowa. So retailers will be getting them this week or next week if they ordered them. You have to go in and tell them to order them.
Oh, okay.
They probably, some stores will pick it up just because of last year.
Yeah.
But your best shot is, I believe it's 28302. We'll tweet that out and stuff like that. The order number,
okay,
it's the Cody Road CF staff barrel pick is what they order.
Well, these are sick. Where did you get the idea to do the? Well, I know where you got the idea to do the all black, but
it was your idea. Is that what you want me to say?
Yeah. Well, when did you decide you were going to go with that? Because last year you went with the more traditional. It was like a very vibrant Cyclone, Cardinal, and Gold.
Well, the first year we threw it together really fast, and all we could get, we just had the little Cyclone logo.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we did the red and yellow, and I was going to do yellow with red this year, and you were like, "Let's do black." And I was like, "I feel like we should do yellow first. Like this is the natural progression, right?" And you're like, "Let's do the black."
I love it. I think it
turned out really cool. What do you think, Scott?
What's up, Scott Christofferson?
How are you guys doing?
Doing very well. How are you, my friend?
Doing well. It's good to be here.
So I made the mistake. I thought, Scott's coming from Wisconsin. It was actually 4 hours to get here. I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
Made a little work trip of it. So
you went to Dubuque today? Is that what you're hanging out in Dubuque? Or?
Yeah, I had a few stops on my way down to Dubuque. And then,
okay.
I have some people I needed to meet with there as well. So
we haven't heard from you. You ready for football? Do you follow the? I don't even know. Do you have any idea what about Iowa State football going into the year?
I do not. I don't watch the games routinely or anything like that. I am a big Packers fan. That's kind of my one football affiliation.
Scott had a Packers blog.
What?
Well, it wasn't.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah, we can. Is
this open information?
It was during COVID. I was looking for something to do. I always wanted a chance to work on my writing skills. So I just kind of started one, and I told 3 buddies about it when I was doing it. It's down now, so you can't explore it. But
I can't go and re-look at this.
Yeah, it was just something to write about. I mean, kind of like we all were for a period of time during COVID. You're looking for something to do with your time. So,
well, shout out to our guy Alan Lazard then.
He's one of my favorite Packers.
Our guy Alan Lazard. We were drinking Cody Road in my basement. Did you listen to that podcast, Ryan?
Yeah, yes.
Where I was making him drink out of the skull glass, and then he kind of figured out what I was up to. No, actually, it's funny about that because he wanted a old fashioned.
Yeah.
That night, I didn't realize how popular your old fashioned in a bottle is.
It is.
I mean, I knew it was popular, but I didn't know it was this popular.
This is not me. This is a voice of surprise, not me trying to toot our horn, but it's the #1 selling ready-to-drink cocktail in a bottle in the state of Iowa. That means that it outsells any single brand of margarita in a bottle. All of that stuff's lumped into the same category.
Yeah.
And so we take our bourbon, we mix it with sugar and bitters and put it back into used bourbon barrels for a few months and bottle it.
That's just seems like the trend.
The problem is it used to, if I was going to have an old fashioned, it took some effort, and I'd have one and then I'd be like plum tucker.
Got to go make another one now. Yeah.
Now all I got to do is pour it. So I have 3 to 4. My wife's in the other room. She'll tell you how this works.
Well, what I like to do with it too is I like to pour it and then pour a little bit more bourbon on top of it.
Me too. It's
That's
a
how
little
I like
sweet.
to roll with that.
I'm with you, but I've also have killed enough taste buds.
Yeah. No, it'll be good. We're looking forward to tonight's party. So tonight's deal was a ticket thing.
Yep.
Shout out to you because you're giving half of, so people get a cocktail when they come in, and then you're giving half of the $20 to the We Will Collective. That's awesome.
Yep. So
Cheers to that.
150 tickets sold, so we got a check for $1,500 from tonight.
Wow.
Already made out to We Will, and kind of raise the profile of that a little bit, especially over here in this neck of the woods in Eastern Iowa.
So we'll have also Lexi Donarski and Emily Ryan will be with us tonight. They came, so the men couldn't come. Apparently, Otzelberger is making them work out. This is shocking, right?
Yes.
So the men, Gabe Kalsher and Caleb Grill were with us last night. They couldn't make it over here to Eastern Iowa today, but Lexi and Emily will be here momentarily. They were actually stopping at Ashley Jones's dad's their restaurant. They were having dinner there.
That's awesome.
On their way here. So we'll be doing that. Jeff Woody's coming tonight. Todd Blythe is coming tonight. Bloom will be here at some point. I don't know where Bloom is. I texted him. I haven't heard from Bloom. He's probably just stumbling on over here from Jefferson.
He hitchhiked down Highway 30
at this point.
Stuck in Clinton.
Yeah, no kidding. He's at the casino. Bloom just can't get enough of the casinos at this point. I am excited though, Ryan. You and I were kind of getting our juices flowing, talking a little football. You got which game do we have on behind us?
Oh, we're beating Texas right now back there.
Again?
Yep.
All we do is beat Texas these days. What do you think? Where are you at on the year?
Last year was so hard because it was the first time in my Cyclone life that I felt such pressure, right?
Yeah.
And
I
it
get
felt
it.
like the team too. This year, I just feel like reckless abandon. Across the board, we're as deep as we've ever been. And what do you have to lose? Let's go punch people in the face again.
I feel like that's the way Campbell feels too.
Yeah.
You can't get that vibe from him right now that's just the way that everybody is.
I'm not scared of Oklahoma and Baylor at this point.
No, nor should you be.
Yeah, it's wide open, top to bottom. The other thing, the bottom of this league has gotten better.
Yeah,
even Kansas is going to be better.
I think Kansas might win 3 games.
That's a lot.
I know. I'm a big Leipold guy. I don't know. I don't know. Like, so if you were to put down their schedule and be like, well, who would they beat? I probably couldn't find 3, but like I'm still at the point where I don't think they're going to be that bad.
Well, they'll beat Texas.
that's what they do.
Right?
They beat Texas. Yeah, I've been thinking back to in my career of covering the Big 12, finding seasons where it was this wide open where there really isn't a big favorite. Like Baylor was my pick to win the league, but I'm not like in love with it. I'm not like pounding like on the Baylor bandwagon here or anything like that. It just feels like a little bit of an advantage to these programs who they have that continuity. And I mean, you live on the eastern side of the state. I'll give them a compliment. Like they had that continuity year after year, and it helps them.
Well, and I was just going to say that since we're here in this neck of the woods, let's just call out the elephant in the room and say, can we just get this monkey off our back this year, please?
So how does that work? So like this place is cloned out. Like hey, Bloom is here. Bloom has entered the Mississippi River Distilling Company. No, the one thing I love about coming over here to do this event, this is the second time we did it, but we did it at a brewery in Omaha earlier, is these fans that don't get the engagement, they go nuts. And we're about to experience that again tonight, but you've had like some game watches and stuff. Are you seeing that support from the Iowa State fans over here?
Scott and I were talking about this earlier. We've put a Hawkeye game on before, but like 8 people show up because they can go anywhere here and watch a Hawkeye game.
Yeah.
We put a Cyclone game on and the place is packed and people are rocking because A, somebody put on the game.
Yeah.
B, we all want to be together. We want to hang out with people that, are cheering with us because it never happens. So it's tonight will be electric. People will just be pumped.
Yeah.
Because we're together.
Yeah. You'll see this, Scott.
And that old fashioned mix.
And that. Right.
Okay, so what is it? This is the Fanatic.
This is we call it Fanatic.
This is a dangerously good drink.
Well, we had to make something with Cyclone Fanatic bourbon in it, and it had to be red. So it's a cranberry and lemon and bourbon, and then we put the little orange slice. That's kind of supposed to be kind of a yellow, gold, you know.
Oh yeah, I see that. I see. I put mine down into the drink for the taste.
that's
Like,
cool.
is that
That's
what you're
cool.
supposed to do, or
Drink
is this
what you
like a
like, dude.
garment?
No, it
Oh,
all
okay.
works. But
Okay.
since we had the black bottle, we had to color it up a little.
Oh, okay. No, that makes total sense. No, I remember this from last year. This got dangerous.
Yep.
When I was up on the patio.
Yeah.
Last year, and it kind of tastes like you're drinking a juice.
Well, we did this on
A
a
delicious
Thursday night
juice.
so that you would be forced to behave yourself.
I know.
But we're already circling the calendar for next year. We'll move it back to a Friday.
Back to a
So,
Friday next year. Yeah. Well, nonetheless, I mean, we got 150 people that are going to be filling this place up, and we're looking forward to that.
It's gonna be a blast.
Good stuff. I'll we'll let Bloom. I don't know where Bloom went. If I know Bloom like I think I do, he's probably getting a drink right now. But Scott, do you will you come to football games at all? I'm just curious of this, like, because we kind of picked you up like as a free agent last year during basketball.
Yep.
And I didn't even know like how much you followed it. Like, will you watch the Cyclones on TV and football?
Yeah. No,
Or are you like,
if I'm home and they're on,
okay,
absolutely. I guess what I meant is I wouldn't set time aside to make sure I
got you.
catch the game or plan a day around it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this year, probably not. In future years, though, potentially. I mean, it's all just it's kind of an odd time in my life, right? I got two
Yeah,
boys
yeah.
that are
No, I
under a
get
year
that.
old. There's just a lot going on.
how do you are you sleeping better?
Yeah, no, we're getting some
The
sleep.
kids are getting the sleep now.
Yep, they're sleeping. They're doing well. So, I always enjoyed going to them when I went to school, and definitely think it's a fun environment. So I would never rule out going to Cyclone football games.
We were ribbing Kalsher last night about defending Tyrese Hunter at Texas.
Okay.
That got to be a pretty good time.
If I'm TJ in that game,
Yeah,
the
what's-
first 4 plays we're running, I'm calling a post ISO of whoever Tyrese is guarding. we're throwing the ball to them in the post. That would be how I would approach that.
I loved Gabe too.
And I like Tyrese, but I would definitely go after him a little
Gabe
bit.
didn't like shy away from it. He's like, no, I'm guarding him. He's like,
I
I'm
like
guarding
that.
him. And I mean, I was like, just take away his left hand, right? And he's like,
I think that
Gabe didn't want to say too much, but he said enough by
I think
how
there will
he
be a
reacted.
healthy level of respect, but I think it'll be a fun and intense matchup. You know what I mean? I
That
don't
game-
think it'll be chippy or anything like that, but there'll be a little talking going on. And I think that there's a lot of respect there from what they accomplished last year. I think it'll actually make that game very intriguing.
That game was chippy last year, if you remember correctly, because
Well,
that car
the
kid,
chippiest part of that game might be between the two coaches.
Correct.
Yeah.
that's a real thing.
Yeah,
That's a real thing.
that happens everywhere beard goes though.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm such a TJ loyalist. I'll just admit that. And I know Scott is too. But when I saw the recruiting videos and stuff of Hunter and Beard, like I almost vomited. Like it was such a hard thing for me to watch that. And like they'll say all the classy things because you have to. And I mean, I don't think anybody truly blames Tyrese for going and getting paid. And
Not personally, but as fans,
Yeah,
just
like-
strictly from a fan point of view, of course it was crushing.
I'm like that, like Vikings fan, right? If I actually wanted Kirk Cousins, and
Which
he,
no one.
yeah, no, I don't want. But like, if Aaron Rodgers for you
Yep.
would have left and gone to,
Brett Favre.
yeah, like you still like appreciate him as a guy, and like the Tyrese Hunter game in the NCAA tournament's one of the all-time great games as a Cyclone that we've ever. So you still like can cherish those moments and appreciate it, but like I don't think the fans like have to sit there and root for him either.
No.
To have like this great career
Please don't.
at Texas.
I mean, I don't even know if I saw anyone say anything bad about him. I think everybody liked and appreciated what he did last year.
Yeah.
Know a little bit about his story, or happy for him, making the financial improvement in his life. But yeah, once we're playing,
Well, that's why
boo him like you would anybody else.
That's why Bloom's here. I keep calling Bloom the bag man, and he doesn't like that phrase. He's like, we're a charitable group. We don't have a mic for you yet. I promise I will bring you in. But there's the bag man right there. They'll be here too. Like I'm just as fired up for the women's season though. Like Lexi was getting super uncomfortable last night because I kept mentioning the words Final Four.
It's probably like football last year, though, right? Where you have all those expectations and it almost is a little uncomfortable.
I get it, but like Ryan, okay, as a fan, like, aren't we kind of looking towards that? Like, this could be a Final Four run. This could be like a magical team for the women this year.
It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch women's basketball in the state of Iowa this year.
Yeah, yeah.
And hats off to our neighbors on this side of the state. But you have two legitimate top 10 teams that are going to be playing great basketball. You've got two homegrown stars that respect each other and do it the right way. I mean, there's just going to be a ton of great stories in women's basketball in Iowa this year.
I think, too, like, it's more fun to watch. No offense to the fellas. I love the fellas. We had a great run last year. It was a blast.
Wasn't always fun to watch.
Okay,
full disclosure.
They're going to do that again this year. Like, they're going to play games in the 40s. Like, that's going to be a thing.
Wrestling's meeting basketball in the TJ Otzelberg era.
So like I'm super excited. I'm going to take my daughters to a bunch of the women's games this year, and like that's just going to be our
game
thing.
in general has improved so much in the last 10 years. I would say just the athleticism, everything about it is elevated from when I was in school anyway. And
it's the Steph Curry effect in my mind. Like it's truly like Caitlin Clark and Ashley Jones and like those players, like they grew up watching Steph Curry and like they didn't have to play above the rim. Like back in the day, like who could a women's basketball player really mimic? You're watching Michael Jordan and Shaq.
Yeah.
Now you have you could probably attest to this better than me, Scott.
I think, well, I guess talking about the women's game in Iowa, I think it's cool how Iowa really embraces the women's game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no offense, but in Wisconsin, I don't know that if the Badgers were going to the Final Four or a Final Four contender, that it would really garner the type of excitement around the team like you get when you have two really good teams in Iowa. So I think the fact that you have two really good teams, a National Player of the Year candidate, or a couple of them, one from Iowa State, one from Iowa, and then you have a fan base on both sides that really embrace it. I just think it's really good for the women's game. I think it'll be a special year for the game, and I'm happy for Iowa that it's happening because it's not a bunch of bandwagon fans now, right? I mean, this is two fan bases on the women's side that have really kind of been there for a long time.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
well deserved in my opinion.
Going back to Vivian Stringer back,
yeah,
I mean they were really good back then. The Iowa State thing though, I think it's super special though. I would just wonder how many fan bases in the country like would do what we're doing tonight, bringing women's players like to a thing like this. And I had like multiple people come to me last night in Jefferson saying, yeah, we're here because we wanted to meet the women's players, which was like, I wasn't surprised. And I told the GM Travis at Wild Rose Casino, I was like, this is a good move. Like they're going to get some people in here and like that. It's a super passion play. Yeah. And we'll have that tonight. They're going to be a really popular, and kudos to you too, for buying into that too. Cause when I told you I wanted to bring women's players, Ryan was all over it. You get it.
I think, meeting Emily, meeting Lexi is just as cool as meeting Caleb Grill right now. This is great stuff going on. It's so good for everybody.
Emily's a top 5 point guard in the country, and I think Lexi's a top 5 defender at her position in the country. And when I talk about the Steph Curry, she reminds me of like a female version of Steph. I mean, so does Caitlin Clark at Iowa, but they're very similar type of player with her and Lexi. So I'm good. Like I'm good to go. I'm ready to get this week over with. No offense, we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight.
Yep.
But I'm ready to watch Nebraska and Northwestern. Go Northwestern, right?
Yeah.
We're
the Oscars.
Yeah. I hate that. Like I absolutely despise playing these non-conference games, any neutral field. Let alone why are Northwestern and Nebraska playing in Ireland?
Money. But
are they getting paid that much?
20 years ago last night.
Is Ireland like this hotbed for college football where like, oh, bring your product over
it's like
here?
if Notre Dame's playing there, I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But 20 years ago last night, Seneca was in.
He was.
And I was there.
He was. Scott, do you mind if we hand your headset off to Bloom here to talk about that?
No, not at
God
all.
bless you.
No.
Bloom, get over here because Bloom's going to be very passionate about this topic, and I know Ryan is as well. Love you, Scotty. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Hopefully some of the other special guests will arrive here before too long. Ryan Burchett's with me. He owns the joint here on Cody Road Black. You have to request this. Ryan will have stuff. We'll have stuff all over social media, how to get your black bottle. I had a bunch of people asking me in Jefferson. We've promoted you so well that people think you're just going to be everywhere, Ryan. Although Bloom, I need to get your opinion. Bloom has gotten into these high noons. Do you know what a high noon is?
Good for you, actually, Ryan.
What is this, like a White Claw thing?
It's similar.
Uh-huh.
Similar. It's a vodka soda seltzer.
It's sparkling water.
Sparkling water, right?
With vodka in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're like
Maybe
100.
we should get you doing some of that.
105 calories.
You have a vodka. What's your vodka called? Pilot?
River Pilot.
River Pilot. That's what it is.
I'll just say that there may be some canned cocktails available with our vodka in the future.
Really?
That's what it is. We're not even in need.
We don't need the high noons.
We're gonna
anymore.
have
We don't need
the good stuff.
Seneca was in 20 years ago today. Where were you?
It's 20 years ago in a day, technically.
Yeah, from yesterday.
Yeah, from yesterday.
Yeah, Ryan just said that. That's why we brought you
Oh,
on.
so I know it's like one of my great stories.
Great segue
This is
here.
a true, 100% true story. I was a senior at Waukee High School, and I was at the game. I took my girlfriend at the time to the game.
I've heard this story. This is a good
It's a great story. And it's the middle of the second quarter, and Iowa State's kind of getting their ass kicked.
Yep.
And I liked this girl at the time, and she literally says to me,
I liked her.
she goes, "Where's the yellow first down line?"
Oh,
And she was serious.
It's like at a hockey game. Like, where's the thing?
Yeah, where's
behind
the glow?
puck?
Where's the glowing block? And
well, this is noble, and that she knew it existed.
she did watch.
Yeah, she's prepping.
And
She
it was
prepped for your date.
legitimate. It was legitimate. She did prep for the date. And then, but the second, that was incredible. That was the best loss I've ever experienced.
I always say the greatest game we ever lost.
I think it is.
We were sitting in the opposite corner of the end zone from where Seneca was in.
I was
wow.
I was in the end. I had moved down with her once we figured out the first down situation to the end zone where he dove in, and he was in.
And my dad, who played football at Iowa State, we had tailgated all day. We'd taken our bus down there. We were
This is the meteorology days for you?
yes.
Okay.
Well, it was a 6 o'clock kick. I want to say 5:30.
It was just like tailgating at Trice. I mean, Arrowhead has those parking lots everywhere. And
Yeah.
it was
Oh, yeah.
all Iowa Staters.
It was
All
incredible.
Iowa Staters. And we were getting our butts kicked. So when we came back, it was, you're pumped anyway.
Electric.
And he dives in, and my dad just grabs me at this big bear hug. And we're like nearly weeping. Like, oh my God, we're going to beat
And
Florida
keep in mind,
State.
Florida State is the program.
They're
at this-
top 5.
Yeah, at this point. Like,
Yeah.
And then it's like, no.
Yeah, and they ran short side option.
Yeah.
Still the worst play call I've ever seen to this day.
Yeah.
well, anyway, I was you
That was not Steve Loney that made that play call. That was
friend of the program.
for the program. I believe that was Pete Hayner.
So only Bloom would pull
I think
that
it
one
was
right
Pete
in.
Hayner who made that play call.
I was standing on top of Brian Foot's modified rig at the Adams County Speedway at a dirt late model race when that was all going down because I was getting text messages up because you couldn't like stream then.
Yeah.
You can't just pull out your phone. I'm
You couldn't
sure
even get score updates.
I think I had like a Nokia, like where it was just when text messaging started. That was how I found out about Seneca.
It was actually Steve Bricky, not Pete Hayner.
There you go.
Steve
Yeah,
Bricky.
don't-
Sorry,
you
Pete.
can't,
My apology.
Yeah, you better apologize.
I'm sorry,
Pete.
Pete.
That's a pretty
That's
big
I know.
error
That was
in lore of
it's
Iowa
actually
State
Steve
football.
Bricky.
Then you go 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? And we
Yeah.
go to Iowa City
Yeah.
and have the big comeback.
3 weeks.
And my wife will not
Were
go
you there?
back to Kinnick.
I
because of
heard-
the way
Oh, that was madhouse.
I've heard that was like the worst
yes.
scenario for an Iowa State fan as far as leaving that field that day. I wasn't there.
I do not want to call out my brethren from Iowa City for being rude because
Of course.
it was everywhere. Everyone was so hammered.
Yeah.
It was like 4:00 in the afternoon, and this Iowa State bus pulls up outside of Kinnick, and this guy comes out. They open the doors. He comes out, and full beers start pelting the bus, and he gets up and gets back in, and they drive away. It was just so ugly that whole day. We had a guy behind us that thought that Brad Banks was the worst football player in the history of all time.
He'd go on to almost win the
Yeah,
It
he
Heisman.
was
was
second.
so rude that even the Hawkeye fans around him were like, "Dude, sit down."
It was probably my uncle.
And when we won,
God rest his soul.
I mean, when the Cyclones ran on the field, we just kind of sat in our seat. just
Yeah.
kinda-
Well done.
You
Yeah.
know your role.
Should do. Yeah.
We just kind of calmly stood up and walked out.
I wish Whitford was here because he gives great insight.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
He
that-
gives great
that day.
insight on
Seneca was great.
the huddles. What was it? 24-3 at halftime? 24-7? Something like
4
that.
to 7.
Yeah, I
24
mean,
to 7.
it was
Yep.
Freddie Russell in Iowa was the
That's Fred Russell, Brad
His
Banks,
team, yeah.
and then
Aaron Grevin.
Aaron Grevin had a huge
Safety.
mistake. The safety that really turned the game. Tim Tabrink had a fumble recovery. Like Adam Beneke, the kicker, had a couple
Didn't-
monster kicks.
didn't Aaron Greving?
He's a
make
names guy.
Yeah, and he made a big error in the 9/11 year game on
He
Thanksgiving
Did
weekend,
I
right?
think
Didn't he make
did.
a fumble?
Did he fumble in that game too?
So I want to
don't
say
know.
Iowa had like a big reception to Greving. And remember, this is the game that was played in November.
Yes,
because of
yep,
9/11.
9/11.
I want to say this was in the fourth quarter, and Iowa was marching down the field to kind of ice the game. Greving caught a pass, gets some yak, and then he fumbled it.
Got blown up by
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a line. Who was the linebacker? Man, I mean, aren't
Was it
we all? Aren't we all?
Was that before Klein?
It was before Klein. It would have been like Jeremy Lloyd or somebody
There
like
you
that.
go.
It was 2001.
Yeah,
It was that team.
but isn't that's 20 years ago?
Yeah.
How old are we?
That
What
was
are we
my
doing?
believe it or not, that was my first game ever in Jack Trice Stadium because I grew up an Iowa fan. Talked about it. I know. I mean, you got to see the darkness sometime before you see the light.
I remember that game being so emotional. Like not
Yeah.
just, but playing at that time of year and the whole 9/11 thing. I
Well,
just
Yeah, it
remember
was
being just
foggy.
like-
And it was great
It
atmosphere.
was rainy. Greving was a big part of that. He was getting
Yep.
booed every time he touched the ball. Like
Games
that
guy.
was quite the thing.
Yeah, I mean, so that 2002 season for Iowa State, our guy Kyle Oppenheisen wrote the book last year. 2002 was a journey all the way around. UConn at the end of the year,
Well, you
the
go down. You are on top of the world,
top of the world.
number 9 in the country.
Seneca's
Go
the
down
Heisman guy.
to
Yep.
Oklahoma. You go 3 and out. The punt gets blocked out of the back
Oh,
of the end zone, and our program took 5 years to recover.
it did. That
From
lit
that
that
moment.
play. I just remember it spinning.
That moment in the rain in Norman.
Didn't like
Yes.
and that I want to
Yeah.
say that
No, you're right. It
that Oklahoma game was like Musburger. That was like the top ABC crew at the time.
it
too,
was
I wanna
it was
say.
yeah. It was their primetime 2:30 game. It was because I remember these
That was
things.
2:30
It was
was the
Brad
prime.
Nessler and
Oh, Ness-
Gary Danielson.
raining
Gotcha.
sideways.
I've watched it probably 3 times because I'm a
You are a masochist.
masochist, and it is even more painful. No, so it's raining sideways. Yeah, they blocked that punt, and then Anthony Forrest tried to kick the ball out of the end zone, and he whiffed, and it blew up from
So
there.
speaking of that, we got into this conversation
that's
about
We
bad.
go to the Blue Turf Bowl.
Oh my god!
Oh,
we got into this conversation last night in Jefferson. The last time Iowa State was in Kinnick, and it was when the Aussie punter Corey Dunn,
Oh, Corey,
and he
yeah,
like couldn't
yeah,
kick the
couldn't
ball.
get it going.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like he couldn't kick it. He was like had the
It was
yips
his
or
first.
something,
It was his
Yeah.
first game.
and he just
They're
kept
like
like
the first 3 games
it
of
just
the year.
it
Yeah.
kept like going off of like the
His
inside
side
of
of
his
his
leg. It wasn't even his foot. It was just like bouncing off of his leg.
I love the Cyclones.
Yeah.
Look at a get a few
Cheers.
more fanatics
Cheers.
here.
Let's go. Can we have that's story
My
time?
most painful.
15-minute podcast coming.
We are at 30 minutes.
Uh-huh.
We got a lot of engagement. Let's just keep telling the war stories then. So
No.
I didn't
No,
really
thank you.
come into this thing until later than y'all. 2005 was the worst season of my life as an Iowa State fan because that was all my friends were on that team. Todd Blythe will be here soon.
Yeah.
Meyer to Blythe podcast debuts
Coming
next
out.
week. Coming up. Sponsored by the Mississippi River Distilling Company. Got to get those boys their big boxes of booze.
Yeah, I was telling Scotty about that. I was like, you kind of got hosed last year. I got to get your address because
That's how we pay
Get the
them.
reinforcements.
That's
Yeah.
how they get paid. I've asked the guys, I'm like, would you rather me give you checks or like a bunch of booze? And they're like, oh, we want the booze every year. They got
That's
jobs. They
still-
want the booze.
One of my favorite nights, thanks to Cody Road. Iowa State, I think, is when they beat West Virginia. Chris, you remember this? They beat West Virginia in 2020, the COVID year,
Yeah.
and it clinched the Big 12 appearance. And we
God,
had
that
that
was crazy.
impromptu live podcast, and it was just we're all getting hammered off of Cody Road.
It was us
And it
four.
was, yeah,
Meyer
it
and
was
Blythe and us.
us two, and we're just
Yeah.
telling stories. It was
Kind of like
incredible.
this, except
Mine's
it
like
was
in
one
his
of
underwear in the basement.
Yeah, you remember
Hiding
that?
in the basement,
Yeah.
the rafters above. Come on, Brett, get a studio here. Look,
Meyer's
put a shirt
wife's
on.
like peeking around the corner,
Yeah.
glaring at him. Come to bed.
I actually think my wife poured me like another
Oh.
while I was on the stream.
I'll-
Anyway, that was great.
Funny thing about that night, I remember
incredible.
walking back to the Cyclone Fanatic truck that night, and I kind of got out there a little bit earlier. I don't know why I was out there before I was going up to do reaction, and there were just droves of drunk Cyclone fans because. Here, a little tip for you if you didn't see it during the COVID year, guys were sneaking in shooters constantly. That was like a big
There's
deal.
no security.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
security.
Yeah,
they
you
were
just
just
walked in.
the
Also,
crowd
no
was
concessions.
No concessions either.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
the crowd was just drunk every game. And guys sprinting out of tries. We're going to the Big 12 title
Yeah,
game!
that was awesome.
Of which I had tickets to, and then I got COVID.
Yeah, I remember
Oh.
that. I remember you got the old Rona. I forgot about that. I'm sorry about that, Ryan. We all got it at the bowl game last
I
year.
got
That's
it again the next following year on the weekend of the Big 12
Oh
championship.
my gosh.
So,
So don't hang around
Don't hang around me
Ryan
during the
in
Big 12
December, right?
championship.
So 2005 was by far the most painful season of my career, though. It started at Nebraska, triple overtime. DeAndre Jackson, God love him, still in this pick up the ball and run. Dre.
Mhm. Nick Leaders
Nick
catch the
Leaders
ball.
drops an interception. What else? We had one other play in that game easily goes another way. So then you had that. You had the Bloom's. One of my favorite Bloom columns of all time was about how you can't trust guys with two first names.
Yeah, still the case.
Yeah.
That has not changed.
Brian
Luke,
from Kansas and Chase Daniel from Missouri.
two
The
backups.
comebacks.
Eats boogers.
Yeah,
Yes, he does.
that was
a long
my
year.
that was my like the most painful.
And then
Cyclone season.
Baylor won in
The-
Trey.
I didn't go to the Baylor game. I was at Kansas Speedway again at the
Makes
race.
sense. Seems like a
What
about-
sense and a theme here.
What about the overtime game in Lincoln? Speaking of leaders, when they fumble in overtime and he jumps on it and it chokes out the other side.
Yeah,
That same game.
yeah.
Oh,
Same,
that's the game.
yeah,
Same game.
same play
Yep.
we're talking about described
Yep.
differently.
God,
We're due. We're due for something really good to happen
Well, that's
this
what we were
year.
saying before.
Yeah,
Like,
I
the
was
pressure's
listening.
off.
Yeah, I love your description. Just reckless abandon this year. Roll it out there, have some fun.
I love it. I love us when you don't think we're gonna do it.
This
It's
is-
kind of Campbell's deal.
Well, frankly,
It's kind of
we
his
talked
deal.
about the Hawks. That's what they are. If they're supposed to be good, they're terrible.
Yeah.
If they're not supposed to be, they
Yeah.
go 10-1 and end
Yeah.
up.
All
Whatever.
right.
Good
We
times.
talked way too much about
That was- no,
Sorry
that's-
about that.
Yeah, no, you're good. Win in Rome, right?
I've got
Hey,
some-
the girls are here. Come on, wave at everybody.
I've got some.
You want to come say hi, just real
Just
quick. You
wave
guys
at the
don't have to
stream.
talk.
Yeah,
Just
just wave at the stream.
the ladies. Steve got him here. Just all you got to do is wave.
There you go.
Show people.
Best-
there we go.
Best backcourt in the nation.
Yeah, right there.
There you go.
Here at Mississippi River Distilling Company.
All right. Well, let's shut her down. We should get to work, get all this stuff torn down. We're gonna have a huge crowd here tonight. Thanks for hosting us. We love coming out
Yeah, this
here.
is awesome.
Love it.
I want to come to a game watch here. We should do a big basketball game watch, and
That'd
I'll
be
just
fun.
come for the weekend because Jacqueline and I were talking about this on the way in. Like, this is such a cool city.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
neat,
it's real
and
great.
it's a
It's a gem.
Thursday afternoon and like just full of people walking up and down the
Yep.
Cody Road here. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
guys.
everything you do,
Fun
man.
night. Go Cyclones.
Bloom, thank you for coming with us. Ryan's got a nice check for the collective made out for you,
I am
which is
touched,
awesome.
honestly, like
which
that.
is really cool.
So kind.
And we'll
Let's
keep
have some
on keeping on.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Now I'm going to lean over the table.
awkwardly.
We don't have Matt Van Winkle tonight, so
Yeah.
it's a little less professional. Thanks for watching. Take
Peace.
care.